I'm making a video on breathing here, right now, just to save time later. If you watch this one through, then I don't have to repeat this throughout the videos later. Bear in mind, all the breathing we're going to talk about now is the same throughout the whole of every yoga path you'll do, unless I specifically tell you different in that video. You don't need me to tell you how to breathe, okay? You've been doing it since the moment you're born. It's the most natural thing that you do. But what we can do is try and improve on it to make it best fit what we're doing. If you start to run, if you start running, you go fast, the best you can, hard as you can, your body will take over and it will breathe in the most effective manner it can for you. Just as when you fall asleep, if you're a healthy individual, you will breathe in a deep, rhythmic way, calming and relaxing. These things you do not need to learn from me. But what I am going to get you to do is explore how to use your breath to move your body in the correct way, and what that means and how that makes it a more healthy and holistic movement. We have two main types of breath. We have yin and yang. Of course, we also have inhaling and exhaling, which is not the same thing. So you can inhale or exhale through the nose or the mouth. There's another set of variations. So we have 4 components to our breath that we need to explore, and around that, different ways to breathe. So the first component is the inhale, whether it's through the mouth or through the nose. We inhale. The lungs are full and expanded. And we have the hold, okay, to maximize the absorption from the lung of the oxygen. So if I was to inhale now, my lungs are full. This is the second part, the hold. The third part is the exhalation. And the fourth part is the breath being held empty. So 4 parts. Inhale, hold full, exhale, hold empty. It's important you do each one of these. And when we do this one traditionally, we do them each having exactly the same length of time. If you breathe slowly, if you breathe deeply, your body starts to go into a relaxed state, very much as it is now, because I'm talking and breathing slowly and relaxed, and that should be transmitted over to you. So if you can put yourself in a relaxed state, you feel better, and all your stretches improve, and relaxed feeling through the body prevents any injuries or problems during your own practice. So the breath is very important. It's long and slow and relaxed. Now, this might be of interest to people who are already experienced with breath techniques in yoga. This one is very unique to how we do our yoga style in Lohan, and it's to control the breath to make the movement correct. So, if you imagine you're in the position I'm in now, and let's say your yoga movement needed a crunch in the stomach, sucking up here, or an elongation in this direction. It would be a different breath we'd use to one which would require some kind of lean or back bend. Okay. Now, if I was in this position, I was to exhale, it'd be easy enough for me to suck in my stomach, and I'd get a longer movement. Just as if I was in this position and I was to exhale, it might help. But breathing in may also help. Breathing in this position, would that help? Perhaps, maybe not. But we have to make it fit. So, there's certain ways to breathe. If I was leaning backwards as I am now, if I was to do what we call abdominal breathing, which is to breathe from the stomach, without the use of the chest, that would inhibit my movement. If I lean back and I inhale from my stomach, pulls me up. It doesn't feel comfortable, almost feels like I'm doing something bad to myself. If I was crunched up all the way in this position, and I was to inhale to the chest, in a way it pulls me out of that position. But if I was to inhale to the stomach, it helps lengthen my body. So, if I breathe in to my stomach, it pulls me down. If I breathe into my chest, it arches me back. So I can choose to aid my backwards motion by inhaling high to the chest. I can aid my forwards motion by inhaling to the stomach. So we talk about yin and yang breathing. And yin and yang is the opposites, male and female. But it doesn't necessarily mean one is one or the other is the other. There's no distinction. They're just meant to represent opposites of sorts. So not one is male or not one's female, but generally we call the arching one, the opening one, the female, and the contracting one and the closing one, the male. Yin and yang. So when you breathe, you have to look at them. If I was opening my arms out and arching my spine, which I might be holding this position for 30 seconds, you have to breathe in that 30-second period. So you do a high breath to the chest. Open up the heart, open up the arms. Just as if I was in a position maybe I'm crunched over like this, my arms are rounded and forwards, my chest and my stomach are curved in. Let's say like this, here, I wouldn't be chest breathing, I'd be abdominally breathing. If I was holding that posture for 30 seconds or more, I'd be forced to breathe in that period of time, and therefore I'd choose a breath which fits the movement. So hopefully when you do your practice now, and you learn the patterns you'll learn in the future, you naturally apply the correct breath for the correct movement. Most of the time, the spine is either going to arch or crunch. Okay? So just to recap again, when it arches, we breathe from the chest. When we crunch, we breathe from the stomach. People may say to you, oh, you should always abdominally breathe, or you shouldn't abdominally breathe. The fact is, these are yin and yang movements. So without one, if you only did one, it would be negative for you. You must always combine one with the other, have a whole. So you must breathe abdominally when you are in the right position, or just as you must breathe with the chest when you're in the correct position. So none of our patterns are all solely one way or the other anyway. So you'll find that you will have an equal balance. But I do recommend for people that say work in an office environment, they find themselves seated for a long period of time. You think about the position, if you're in a chair, your legs are down, obviously I have a chair here, and you're often crunched over, you're like this and you're working. It's hard to chest breathe. It's even hard to feel comfortable. Okay. I do recommend that people that are in this position should tend towards a practice which would then also give them the opposite, which is the opening of the front of the body and the high breathing from the chest. So I recommend that first everyone exaggerates all these movements with the breath. Chest breathing, for going backwards. Abdominal breathing, for going forwards. If you go into a push or a large bit of energy, I always recommend you exhale anyway. And if you don't know what to do, just breathe naturally, because every time you exhale, and you try it now, take a long breath in, and exhale, hold it empty, now release, don't try and breathe in, just release. And what happens is, there's breath in your lungs, it came from nowhere almost. The diaphragm is fully tensed, it's open, like this. And when you relax, it just fills the air fills the lungs. So air is going to go into the lungs. You only really have to think about breathing out. But when you do the movements, I'd like you to try and learn how to aid that movement, because it will improve your stretches, it will aid your stretches to inhale. Also, a lot of people's upper body, particularly above the center of the spine, it's very tense, there's no movement there. So breath itself is one of the best things you can use to loosen up the muscle and sinew in the upper body. So give it a go, add it to your practice, add it to your hands, and hopefully you won't need to hear this again from me. But I will probably tell you, well, if you haven't learned breathing, come back and look at this too.